Windows is the most widely used operating system in the world, created by Microsoft. It was first released in 1985 as Windows 1.0. Originally, it was just a graphical interface running on top of MS-DOS. Everything looked very basic at first, but over time it evolved into a full-fledged operating system with major versions like Windows 95, Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 10, and now Windows 11. What makes Windows stand out is its flexibility and widespread compatibility. Windows can run on almost any PC or laptop brand, and it is capable of handling various computing purposes, from hardcore gaming to office work and even programming. Windows OS has a user-friendly interface, making it easy for beginners. However, Windows can be troublesome as well. Its hefty system requirements can make older or weaker hardware feel sluggish. It is also infamous for frequent updates, which, while meant to improve performance, often feel intrusive and sometimes can lead to an infinite Windows update loop. Security is another concern. Because Windows is the most widely used operating system, it is also the biggest target for viruses and malware. And of course, there's the legendary blue screen of death. In fact, this problem has been around since Windows 1.0. macOS is developed by Apple as the operating system for Mac computers. Unlike Windows, which runs on various brands of PCs, macOS is exclusive to Apple devices like MacBooks and iMacs. This tight control over hardware and software makes macOS extremely stable, smooth, and well-optimized. It is especially popular among creative professionals, including video editors, graphic designers, and even musicians. This is largely thanks to Apple's powerful built-in apps like Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, and GarageBand. One of macOS's biggest advantages is its ecosystem integration. If you own an iPhone or iPad, macOS allows you to sync messages, calls, and files seamlessly. Additionally, there are no frequent forced updates or crashes like Windows, and battery life tends to last longer as well. However, despite these advantages, macOS has some downsides. Since it only works on Apple computers, users are forced to buy expensive Mac hardware, which can be a deal-breaker for budget-conscious buyers. Another major issue is gaming, as macOS devices lack DirectX support and often do not have powerful GPUs or dedicated graphics cards. Additionally, some professional software is either not available on macOS, or if it is available, it comes in a limited version. Linux is not a single operating system, but a family of operating systems known as distributions, often called distros. It was created in 1991 by Linus Torvalds, a Finnish software engineer who wanted to build a free and open-source alternative to other operating systems. Unlike Windows, which requires high system resources, or macOS, which runs only on expensive Apple devices, Linux is lightweight, secure, and hardware-friendly. It does not require expensive hardware, which is why it can run on older computers as well as high-performance servers. Since Linux is open source, anyone can modify it or build their own version. This is why there are many Linux distros. Some are designed for regular users, such as Ubuntu and Fedora, while others are built for servers and professionals, like CentOS and Debian. This flexibility has made Linux widely used for programming, cybersecurity, and server management. In fact, many websites and powerful systems used by companies like Google, Facebook, and even NASA run on Linux servers. However, Linux is not very beginner-friendly. It is quite different from Windows and macOS, and new users often struggle with its interface. Many Linux distros rely heavily on text-based commands instead of graphical menus. Another major issue is software compatibility. Most mainstream apps and games are built for Windows or macOS, so Linux users often need to find alternative software. That's why Linux is usually used by developers, professionals, or advanced users. ChromeOS is developed by Google and was first released in 2011 as a lightweight, cloud-based operating system. Unlike Windows or macOS, which rely on installing software directly onto a computer, ChromeOS is designed to work primarily with the Internet. This makes it ideal for users who spend most of their time browsing, streaming, and using web apps. ChromeOS comes pre-installed on Chromebooks, which are affordable, fast laptops commonly used in schools and office environments. The system boots up in seconds and receives automatic updates in the background. ChromeOS is also highly secure because most tasks and data are handled and stored on Google's servers rather than on the device itself. This reduces exposure to malware and system corruption. Additionally, ChromeOS has access to the Google Play Store, allowing users to install Android apps, making it more versatile than a basic web browser. However, ChromeOS has its limitations. Because it is heavily internet-dependent, it does not work well without an active connection. It also lacks support for many traditional desktop applications, such as full versions of Adobe Photoshop or professional video editing software. ChromeOS is also not ideal for high-end gaming, unless users rely on cloud gaming services like GeForce Now, which again require a fast and stable internet connection. Heavy multitasking is limited as well. For example, running Photoshop while editing videos is nearly impossible. Android is an open-source operating system developed by Google, and it is the world's most popular mobile OS. It is used by multiple brands, including Samsung, Xiaomi, and many others. One of the best things about Android is its customization. Users can change themes, install third-party launchers, and customize almost every aspect of the system. Unlike iOS, which has a more locked-down interface, Android offers much more freedom. Android also has access to the Google Play Store, which offers millions of apps and games. Another major advantage is device variety. Android is available on budget-friendly smartphones as well as high-end flagship models with powerful specifications. However, Android does have some drawbacks. Not all devices receive regular software updates, which can lead to slower performance over time and security risks on outdated devices. Another common issue is bloatware, where manufacturers pre-install unnecessary apps that cannot be removed. Additionally, while Android is powerful, it is generally less optimized than iOS. As a result, some apps may feel laggy on Android but run smoother on iPhones. iOS is developed by Apple and is the operating system that powers iPhones and iPads. Unlike Android, which is open source and used by multiple brands, iOS is exclusive to Apple devices, giving Apple complete control over both the hardware and software. iOS devices are known for their stability and long-term software support. Even older iPhones continue to receive updates for many years. The App Store also offers a highly curated selection of apps, with many developers prioritizing iOS for new releases due to its higher security standards and paying user base. Additionally, the Apple ecosystem allows devices like MacBooks, iPhones, iPads, and Apple Watches to connect and work seamlessly together. However, iOS has its downsides. It is highly restrictive, as users cannot customize their home screens as freely, install apps from outside the App Store, or easily transfer files without staying within Apple's ecosystem. iPhones also lack expandable storage and a headphone jack, and iOS devices tend to be expensive. Apple also often reuses similar designs and features across multiple iPhone generations. UNIX is one of the oldest operating systems and the foundation that gave birth to many modern operating systems. It was originally developed in the late 1960s at Bell Labs by AT&T and was designed as a multi-user, multitasking operating system, mainly for servers and high-end computing. Unlike popular modern operating systems, UNIX is rarely used by everyday consumers. It is typically used to handle large workloads in corporate servers, banking systems, and scientific research. For example, the National Weather Service uses UNIX-based systems to manage and process massive amounts of meteorological data, which are essential for accurate weather forecasting. However, UNIX comes with major drawbacks. UNIX installations are very expensive. Licensing can cost around $1,447 per user, meaning that for a large company with 250 users, a full UNIX deployment could cost more than $350,000. BSD is a family of operating systems that originated from UNIX and was developed at the University of California, Berkeley in the 1970s. Unlike commercial operating systems, BSD is usually used by tech experts for servers, networking, and embedded systems, rather than consumer laptops or desktop computers. Examples of BSD-based systems include the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, Netflix's content delivery network, and firewall systems like pfSense and OPNsense. This widespread use is due to BSD's efficient resource management and its ability to handle heavy workloads reliably. BSD has several well-known versions, including FreeBSD, OpenBSD, and NetBSD.